All right, going to be working on this window regulator. When I had the car on cruising the coast, the driver's side rear window acted like it was stripped out. The lever didn't, or the crank didn't do anything. For whatever reason, when I pulled it out of the car, it seems to be working. I have observed that we got some boogered up teeth right in here. The official word, boogered up. I can show a close-up picture of that. Anyway, it's working fine now, and I can put a load on it, and it seems to work even in that area that's questionable. So I don't know, but I don't want to put it all back in and leave it for chance. Right, so there is a spring on it here which wants to roll it this direction. It hits the stops on the teeth. I am going to probably regret this, but I'm going to drill out these rivets, and I'll re-rivet it back together, I guess. But I want to look at this drive gear, see if there's a problem with it. So it looks like there's just 3 rivets. So I'm going to drill those out. I'm going to pull this little cover off and see what we got going on in there. So let's do that. You really just need to drill the heads off. Those rivets. So let's see if this works. Looks like it might be working. See all the way through so I can rivet it back together. Might be too big. It's probably more appropriately sized. Still not maybe all the way through yet. Still might be too big. This one might be better. Yeah, that was the size. Okay. I got a scrap metal bucket over here. Throw that in there. That's going through. Oh, teeth are on the back side of that one. That's going to be tricky. I'm going to have to. There's a hole right there. Let's see if we can line that one up with the hole. No. All right, I didn't think that through, I guess. Oh, you know what? Maybe I go all the way over. Yeah, okay. Now, it should pop out. Still not quite. All right, well, let me tap this other one out and I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. That one popped right out. Take this guy off and look here at what we've got. Huh. Somehow got out of. I don't know. It's a strange arrangement. This is the thing obviously wrong with it, but it's also difficult to see in there. Let me hit the light. Yeah, it was just pressed in there. So this is the tooth, the drive teeth. They're worn, but I guess not. I was expecting to see one of them broken or something. Okay, hit it with a little brake cleaner. We'll grease it back. This is not a one-piece deal here. The tooth, teeth, gear, sprocket, whatever. Never you can see that movement, but it's separate from this. I'm wondering if it was spinning in this little bracket, because it was definitely not rolling the window up and down, and maybe with no load it's not enough to make it slip. So this might be the whole issue. It might just be this guy slipping the tooth on this piece here. I'm not sure. The way this assembly goes together, this has, I don't know why it's got play in it, but it's designed to have some play. So this drives your window up and down. It's a fairly complicated piece for what it is. I don't know. And of course, spring to help it. I don't want to take that off. That'll be a bear to get back on. This is designed with a stamping. They stamped it to push against this guy, and that's all assembled. This guy here. So I don't know. Seems more complicated than it needs to be. These teeth, they're worn. I think I can maybe build them up with some weld and then grind them back down. It's just a few on this end. So I think we can take care of that easily enough. I gotta get that rivet out of there. So I'm gonna do that to hold that guy there. I'm gonna clamp it here. So without the drive gear in it, I can go past where this rivet is and maybe knock that guy out. I'm gonna need, where did that? So yeah, let me put that in there. And we'll knock that guy out. Okay. So I got the old rivets out. The teeth, which ones were it? Were these that were bad? This end, I think. No, it's these right up here. With grease on them, they don't look so bad. But yeah, wipe them off, and you can see 1, 2, 3, maybe that are going to need some work. They might be okay. I mean, technically, they work. There's all right, I've cleaned these guys up. Just so you get a better look at them. Again, this assembly goes together like this. So the window crank splines onto here, and then as you turn this, it's going to go up or down, depending on that. I don't know why it has play in it, but it does. And it's designed that way, yes. And there doesn't appear to be any way that this could jump over that. So I was thinking maybe that could happen, but you can see there's a lip on either side of it, and that is on this shaft here. So it can't slip past there. So this thing is all one piece, it looks like. I don't see. It's possible that this is splined together. Very difficult to tell, but it's, this piece might be splined into this piece. I don't know. I don't think that's slipping, but we'll check that, see if that's slipping. I just want to make sure this is not. I can move this piece on the gear, but when I look at it really close, it looks like that the teeth go part way through, and that there's these big splines here. So I think it can be loose, but it's not possible for it to slip. As I move it, I'm sure you can't see that, but as I move it, it looks like these are folded over, and that if I were to grind those little edges off, this would slide out and there'd be splines there, but I don't want to do that. So again, I don't think that's what's slipping. So I'm going to look into this guy and see if it's possible that this can spin inside of here with a load on it. This piece here is some softer metal. I don't know what it's made out of, but just trying to file some of the wear marks out of it, and it files pretty easily. I don't think it's aluminum. It might be. Or some kind of a just soft metal. So that confirms to me anyway that this is also a two-piece part. Knock some of the this outer piece, strange looking shape, is definitely softer material than this. This is steel, this is some kind of aluminum, and I can probably check with a magnet. Got a magnet over here. Yeah, so that's magnetic. That is not. So it is two-piece. This looks like it's splined in there. Probably difficult to tell. So my guess is those splines are probably stripped in there maybe. And this is spinning inside of here. I'm going to look in my junk pile. I have a window regulator from the front door. And I'll see if I can find it. And maybe these pieces are the same. I will take that one out of the front because it was working. It's just the scissor part was messed up. So the window went up crooked, but it wasn't stripped out. So I'm going to see if I've got a part like this in the old driver's side window regulator and swap them out. All right, I found the driver's side window regulator from Marge. These were bent, and I think I can't see that. This has lots of play in it, and that one's bent. So the window was wonky. So let us see if I drill out this guy. Already I can tell this is longer, so that's probably not going to work. Only for so long. Okay. Boink. 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 Okay. Took it apart. It does look be of the same design. It is, however, longer. I don't know if that's going to be an issue other than the handle's going to stick out too far. So it'll look a little wonky. But maybe I can find another used one at some point to correct that. It's going to be a good so I don't know if you can see that inside of there, probably not. Inside of here is a spring looking thing. You can see the little ears. There's one. So this, when it goes in, this guy has to fit between those two ears. They're like a spring. So that's inside of those springy things. And then that goes in there. And so when you turn this, that gives it some resistance. I don't know if that's for feel, to keep it, you know, uniformly resistant. I don't know. I took the press and pressed this out of here, and the splines weren't stripped. So this is not spinning inside of here. So I pressed it back in. I was thinking about swapping it with this one, but it's too tall and I thought that would look hokey. So I went ahead and I figured if this was bad, I could press it apart and there wouldn't be any loss. So I did press it apart. You can see a little more clearly now that it's two pieces. And I pressed it back together. I don't think that is the problem. I honestly do not know what the issue is. I'm going to clean up these teeth and just put it back together and see if it works. I can't find anything else stripped out. I mean, nothing's stripped out, actually. So I'm just gonna put it all back together, grease it up good. Okay, I just cleaned up these teeth with the grinder. I was thinking about building them up with some weld, but the actual drive gear doesn't slip in there, so I think I'm going to leave it alone because I don't want to wear any more than necessary. This, make sure there's no burrs. All right, so I think that's going to work. This guy, I'm going to need to rivet back together. So that's going to go on here like so. So I'll put some pop rivets in there. I've got the teeth lined up, holding it with the vice grip. So go ahead and clamp this guy in the vise just to hold it steady. And then I'm gonna put some pop rivets in there. I think that should do the trick. I probably want to come from underneath. Pop rivet gun. Pop rivets, see if they're too big. Oh, that should work. Okay, so I'm gonna Bring these up from underneath. So they won't hit anything. Bucket. That's one. Probably can't see what I'm doing here. That's two. And the third one. I don't know if I'm able to, oh yeah. I think I can get it in there. Let me. I might only be able to get two in there because yeah. Let me take this off. Yeah. No. I'd have to drill a hole in this, which I could do, or just maybe a notch. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll put a little notch on the end here. Yeah. So I'm just going to put a little notch here so I can get a rivet in there. I'm going to crank it out to here. And we'll just hit it with the hand grinder to get them off. That way, yeah, the pop rivet gun can get in there without any interference. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Perfect. Now it's all pop riveted back on. Should be able to go up and down. I'm going to grease this, because it's going to move up and down on that. A little extra on the teeth, won't hurt anything. All right, I got the back window in, or the mechanism, and I gotta clean it. This bothers me, that gap, so I'm gonna have to work on that. I think that's all the way up. Yeah, that ain't right. It looks pretty good. Well, no, maybe it's up higher. I don't know, but there's a piece missing back there. Hopefully when I find that, I can get this adjusted. Well, while I'm working on the interior, let me start again. While I'm working on the interior, I'm gonna fix this armrest, which is a broken piece. This door handle is not quite right. You gotta really push the button in. Oh, it's working great now. Okay, there. Sometimes it doesn't work. So I'm gonna take that apart, see what's going on inside there. Well, it would seem that this push rod here is just not quite long enough where there's just not enough travel. And it's all the way forward. There's a rubber O-ring or something in there. Let me see if I can maybe keeping it from going all the way down. So let's check it out. Okay, inside here, a piece of rubber O-ring. I don't know what that was from, but it was in the spring. So that may have been what was keeping it from pushing in all the way. I'm gonna put it back together and see if that's all it takes. Do this. It's going to go like that. was that little piece of rubber was keeping that button from going in all the way. Oh, that in there, I'll never know. Or what's it for? Maybe a seal of some kind, but anyway, door handle works properly again. Cheeto, are you helping? You're just getting dirty. No? Okay. All right, I took the other side apart because you guys want to see a picture of my finger. There is no provision over here for one of those tracks. No hole, no nothing. So over there you've got holes and there's a roller on the window. This side doesn't have one. I talked to a guy. I'm not affiliated in any way with these guys, but I'm going to share their name because they were very helpful. Well, the main guy, Danny Howell from Southeast Chevy Parts. I have been searching high and low since I discovered it appeared that it was missing the part and cannot find them. They're unobtainium. They do not exist, and if they do, they are probably worth a small fortune. Danny said if I find a pair and I only need the one, he'd buy the other one from me. So anyway, he gave me a little history. I'm gonna go ahead and share it because I think he was very helpful in sharing the history. Apparently in 61, when they were designing the bubble top car, they left that out for whatever reason. The 59 and 60 had them, and 62s of course, but for whatever reason the 61s didn't. And so they early 61s didn't, late 61s did. And he said he was actually in a salvage yard somewhere looking at cars, and he saw one much like mine. You can see no holes there. This one has a mounting hole here and a mounting hole here for the bracket. And he was surprised to see the bubble top in the yard with only one side, and it looks like I got one of those too. So this is somewhere between, I guess, an early and a late. They must have started adding it to the driver's side first, because the later ones have it on both sides. So the engineers, I guess, did make provisions for them once the customers started complaining about it. But this car has neither one of them, and for whatever reason, the passenger side window rolls up and down perfectly straight, lines up nicely with the door glass. So let's take a look at that. This is how it should be. The gap is nice and even all the way up. You can see the chrome all the way down so it doesn't get tucked up in there, whereas on the other side, when I roll this window up, the chrome, you can see here, it disappears right about where my finger is. So that the back of the window is going up too far inside the car groove, which is putting a tilt on it and making this gap here. And I assume that also is why the window mechanism started acting funny. It was rolling the window up crooked. And I described this to him, and he said, yeah, that's one of the complaints that customers had back in the day. He said he was in his 70s, so he's been working on these a long time. And Chester doesn't have a solution. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to still see if I can find one. I'm going to go ahead and I do plan to change the carpet out, so I'm going to go ahead and continue that job and continue the search. And I might try playing around some more with the adjustments, but you can see when I first got this car, this window was rolling up crooked, and it was the door window regulator was messed up. But it wouldn't roll up completely straight either. And I don't know if they had jammed on it to try and get it to match this window. I think that's probably what someone had done, is they couldn't get this window straight, so they tried to make this one crooked, maybe. I don't know, unless it's just normal wear. But once I replaced this window regulator so that I didn't have a gap up here, then I had this weird gap back here, and actually had to move this one of these. I think it was, yeah, I didn't have this apart before. When I replaced the regulator, I had to move this window forward a little bit because it was catching right in there from being cockeyed. So this car has been giving me trouble since I bought it with this side of the windows. I think getting the track over here will fix it, but finding one is going to be a challenge. So I might have to make it, and that could be trial and error to figure out what the curve is, because it's not a straight track. So that should be interesting. All right. So I took the other side apart, as I showed you, the passenger side, and it doesn't have the provisions for the little S track. I've got a picture on the internet of what one should look like. Obviously no specific details of what the S curve is, but this side works fine, this side does not. So I did find on the Evil Bay some 59 Oldsmobile for Pontiac ones. They also made a bubble top style roof on the Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick, Chevy. The 59 and 60 are different. Talking with, again, Danny Howell, he said his memory is they're not quite the exact S shape of the 61. I'm going to go ahead and buy them on eBay and see if I can't modify one of them. They're not nearly as rare, so I'm not worried about chopping one of them up. They're still pricey, but anyway, I really want to get this window working properly. So I'm going to go ahead and buy that, and I'm going to probably end this video here, and when I get that part, I will do just a segment on that. And of course, I'm doing the carpet, so I'll maybe do a video segment on the carpet. But Chester and I are going to end the window video now. So thanks for watching. So thank you, Chester.